everybody, welcome back to Samara Builds. As we know, this is where I'm building a better life. Today I'm going to talk about 5 books that help my mental health, and as a little bonus, I'm talking about what I'm reading right now. I don't know about you guys, but when I was a little kid, I was a voracious reader. My face was always in a book. And as I've gotten older, for some reason that kind of faded away, but lately I've been kicking it back up a notch and it's been awesome. So I really recommend just pulling out some good books again. So let's get started on the 5 books that help my mental health. Starting with a children's book, Ruby Holler by Sharon Creech. I'm starting with this book because it was one of the first books that I think helped my mental health. And you know, at the time, it wasn't so apparent to me why I loved it so much, but now it's so obvious. It's about these 2 kids. They might be twins. Yep, they're twins. These 2 twins who go and live with this older couple, and it's scary and hard at times, and then it's just the best situation, and they have a wonderful life with them. My twin and I lived with my grandparents at different times of my childhood, and it was always really wonderful, and so that's why this resonated with me so much. But you know, if there was a book that you loved as a kid that made you feel all the warm fuzzies, I really recommend giving it a read again, because it'll probably bring those feelings back, but with just a lot more clarity this time around. The next book on my list of books that help my mental health is Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. This is a much heavier book than the last one I just talked about. This is about a man who survived the concentration camps of World War II and talks about the time afterwards of, you know, they were kind of split into 2 different groups of people, the people who survived, that it was they were a shell of a person, or they had just a real zest for life, and sort of what the difference was between those people and the people who survived versus thrived. It's a great book, especially if you have been through any kind of trauma. How do you come out of that? How do you give it meaning? How do you find meaning in your life? This is really just a wonderful read. Like I said, it's heavy, it's dark sometimes, but that's life. And this book, I've given it to a couple of people throughout the years because it's just one of those books where it shifts the way you look at life, and what a powerful thing. So yeah, read it. This next book is heavy in a different way. It's called The Body Keeps the Score. Oh my hell, I can't even read. Brain, Mind, and Body in the Healing of Trauma by Bessel van der Kolk. I'm definitely saying that wrong. But the book is heavy, like I said, in a different way. The first part of it really goes into a lot of science, and studies and MRIs and imaging and tests. And then the latter half of the book sort of breaks it down in a different way. This book talks about what trauma does to your body. Even if you didn't go through physical trauma, you weren't physically beaten, it still affects your body in a very major way. It's a great read, once again, for anybody who's been through any amount of trauma. It really helped put things in perspective for me, for I have a hard time remembering certain parts of my childhood or things that I went through. And because of that, sometimes I would have random panic attacks, or, you know, my body would react to certain things that I didn't remember. That's because my body remembers. And this really helped me feel normal through that process of learning all about that. And if you've ever been to a yoga class and you do a certain stretch and you start crying, this is why. Like I said, our body literally holds on to trauma if we don't process through it. And this book just goes into all the science of why it's so important to process it in a physical way. Like we know when we process things, like our emotions feel better and stuff like that. But this talks about like how it truly affects our physicality, our bodies. These vessels we're doing everything through are affected by trauma so much more than like I thought and a lot of people thought initially. So a really interesting read. It's not a light one, but it's really helped me, and I, as all of these, really recommend it. This book is a lighter book than the previous two I just talked about. It's called Jonathan Livingston Seagull. It's by Richard Bach. Richard Bach, probably. This book, if you've known me long enough that like we've talked about the meaning of life and the afterlife, I have definitely brought up this book because it really, once again, shifted my point of view on things and really helped me. I know I've mentioned this in previous videos, but when I get really depressed, I get caught up on the dinosaurs, that they were on the earth for millions of years and none of their lives matter, and we are infinitesimally small in the universe, and so nothing matters. And now I've had like a shift where that gives me great liberation. But this book I read a long time ago, and it really helped me with that whole process because I have a hard time with the concept of God. Like I don't know that I believe in a God, but I do believe in progression. I do believe we can make our lives better. We can make the lives of people around us better. And we should always be striving to be better than we were yesterday and keep growing. And that's really what the root of this book is about. And it's about a seagull and his life. And that sounds really stupid, but it's very beautiful and poetic. And I love it. It's not that big of a read. It's not that long. It's pretty easy. It's got a lot of pictures in this one of seagulls, but it's great. And once again, this is a book that I've given to many people, and when they told me they read it, they told me they liked it. Maybe they lied. I don't care. I think it's good. Okay, next book. Outlive by Dr. Peter Attia. This book is just heavy because it's so darn thick. She's a big book. There's no pictures in this one. As you can tell, I have these like tabbies in the top. I've read it. I've read parts of it multiple times. I have, it's been loved. It's been written in. I think I probably will eventually do a full video just about this book because there's so much to it. But if you want to live the healthiest, longest life possible, this is a great place to start. And I just really love Dr. Peter Attia. When I talked about the podcasts that help my mental health, his was one of them, and I mentioned this book briefly in that. But this book is so powerful for me in particular because so much of my life I have not envisioned myself old. Like I always thought I would die young. And now that I'm trying to like envision my life as an old person and plan for that, this has really helped because I do want to live as healthy as I can for as long as I can. And he talks about great ways to do it, but he does it in a way where a lot of it is scientific, but also very approachable. And he talks about like the mental health aspect as well, which obviously I think is super important. You know, I'm building a better life for as long as I can. And this book is really helping to guide that. And so this, for me, is a must read. And like I said, I do want to do a whole video about it because there's different, you know, I'm tripping on my words because I have so much to say about it. But it's a long book and it took me a while to get through it, but I really recommend it. Like, just read it. All of these books I have cried while reading them. This was one that I didn't think I was going to cry while reading, but I did, and it's just great. Okay, so those are 5 books that help my mental health. A lot of other books have as well, but like those are the big ones in my book. Those are the game changers. Those are the paradigm shifters. Right now I'm going to show you the books that I'm reading right now. I don't know why I do this, but I can't just read one book at a time. Like, I'm a psychopath, but it takes me a while to read a book sometimes because I stop and read a different book and then a different one and then a different one. So I'm reading 4 books right now, and so far they're all great and I really recommend them. So here we go. First of all, the cover of this, Chef's Kiss. The Woman Destroyed. I'm not that far into it. It's 3 stories and I'm halfway through the first one, and it's already just really beautiful visual. I can keep you updated on how I like it if you want. Let me know in the comments, but so far, really good. Mating in Captivity by Esther Perel. If you don't know who Esther Perel is, like, stop this video and go check out her stuff because she's a really famous therapist. I don't remember her credentialing, but legit lady. And she has like a really cool podcast, and like it's worth following her on Instagram, things like that. Mating in Captivity, Unlocking Erotic Intelligence. She was raised by people who also survived the Holocaust, and she also talks about the difference in people who like survived and then basically didn't live, and then people who thrived, who had a real zest for life. And she talks about like in a relationship, how do you keep that zest alive? How do you keep eroticism, and not just in a sexual way, but just like a true mysterious and yearning and love for each other that has the spark of a youthful love. I'm not that far into it, but I love Esther Perel and I'm already loving this so much. I already recommend it. So add this to your list. This next book, of course I'm reading it. Look at the title. Build the Life You Want. The Art and Science of Getting Happier. That's what I'm doing. That's the whole thing. So once again, I'm not that far into this, but I'm already really enjoying it. By Arthur C. Brooks and Oprah Winfrey. And once again, let me know if you want me to let you know if I officially love it at the end, but I'm stoked about it. Like showing you the books I'm reading, I'm like, oh, how about I sit down right now and read this? All of these have me feeling this way. So again, super excited about this one. Great title. And then last, but definitely not least, Financial Feminist. This is another one that's like really shifting my paradigm. I'm almost done with this one. I'm actually doing a whole other video right now that's like how this book can help shift my finances in 3 months. I have never been excited about money. It's never been like a super motivating factor for me. I've never been like great at budgeting, or like I don't invest, anything like that. But this book has me so motivated to be more responsible with my finances because I'm building for my future. And it's just, like I said, I'm doing a whole other video about this book and like just my finances in general, but so stoked on this one. So now you have like 10 books to add to your list. So you're welcome. Okay, so I'm reading these books right now, but I'm gonna finish some of them soon and I need more recommendations. So please let me know in the comments, like, what's your favorite books? Like, what's books that have helped your mental health? I want to know. I want to keep reading. Okay, guys, get out there, keep reading, share a little love, whatever. I don't know. Have a great day. Bye.